Muy bien, bienvenido de nuevo a otro episodio de Just Buy Less Coffee que responde a las preguntas más profundas de la política estadounidense. Me llamo Troy, a.k.a. Keep Troy Blue. Conmigo, como siempre, está Cathy Cannon, a.k.a. Cannon's Fodder. Cannon,
you're going to confuse a lot of people. I live in Florida. I followed you. You're good.
Cannon, I have arrived in Spain, and I
Look
just
at you go, Troy. You're like,
my first question for you as a newly arrived citizen of the European Union is on a scale of 1 to 10. How douchey was that intro just now of me?
It was top-notch white American dude right there. Like you killed it on that one. I'm actually impressed. Like I'm gonna assume you knew Spanish before you got there, because that would have been an impressive 1 week learning curve. You know what
I can get a taxi and order dinner, basically, is what I can do.
Look at him go, kids. Look at him go.
Yeah, I've moved to Spain. I've been here for 1 week, a week and a half. My family moved here from the United States because we could, basically, and loving it, following American politics, getting a little bit, getting my legs under me here for the podcast. I appreciate everybody's patience. I appreciate Cathy's patience, holding down the fort while I've been in transition. My microphones are still in customs, so I probably sound like ass.
I think that's hilarious that the microphones are in customs.
Yeah. Well, it's Spain, man. Bureaucracy here is a little insane. It's apparently the worst part about living in Spain is the bureaucracy is crazy. But
well, that's what happens when you have a 40-year fascist government. They get a little bit, overcorrecty there in the end.
Yeah.
The after effects of Francisco Franco is your microphone is in customs. So
yeah, basically. And we had to provide a detailed list of all of our underwear.
This is sexy time.
We have we're here on a 90-day tourist visa while I get a tourist Schengen passport, while I get while I get my work visa. And but we have 8 bags of clothes that we're shipping from the United States and all this stuff. And Spanish customs is why the fuck do you need 8 giant bags of clothes if you're going to be here for 3 weeks?
You're well, see what had happened was Donald Trump.
Essentially, we're more, think of us more like refugees, and you'll understand. Yeah,
that is fair.
So anyway, debate last night, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, technically the second debate of the 2024 election. The first debate knocked Joe Biden out of the race. We talked to, we had a whole show about that. It was an absolute disaster for Joe Biden. May have actually saved American democracy, however, because Kamala Harris absolutely destroyed it last night.
I know. I was going to say this one was very bad for Donald Trump.
This one was kind of the opposite. It's just Donald Trump coming off like an unhinged lunatic. Kamala Harris absolutely killed it last night. Just top-notch debate quality. We haven't seen a candidate like that. Just looked like a debate should look. You know what I mean? We kind of haven't seen that in the Trump era. But anyway, want to get your initial thoughts on Kamala's performance there. And I mean, that was a masterclass. That was an absolute.
That's a good way of putting it, because I'll admit I was a little nervous going in, right?
Me too.
And I think just because PTSD, right? Because the last debate knocked our candidate out, right? If this goes badly, right? Then I don't even know. I wouldn't have even known what to do. But she did her homework and she fucking killed it, I think. From the gate. From the very opening when she walked out there and forced him to shake her hand, right? Because he was gonna try and pull the power move, the fuck you, I'm not gonna shake your hand. She was not having it. She was she chased him to his own podium and was let's have a good debate. And from there, he was rattled from that moment on. And it took him I don't think he ever recovered, truthfully. My favorite was his scowl. The first 10-minute face, the progression of Donald Trump's face throughout the debate just went from angry to raging angry to about to explode angry. And it was the funniest fucking thing.
Kamala Harris kind of came out and dominated from the gate. Trump did decently well, I thought, for the first, the first half hour. He was holding his own. And then he just kind of began to fall apart. There was a clear moment where Trump kind of fell apart, and it was the fucking eating cats moment.
Oh my God. I swear, like, the kids, like, that's the part that they mentioned to me. Like, I'm so proud of them for watching the debate. I just want the whole world to know. Like, they were like, Miss Cannon, did you watch the debate? As if I wouldn't have. But I told them, I was like, that came out, like, when he said that, I started laughing so hard, I started coughing. I was like, that one almost took me out for today. Like, I almost had to call out because of the coughing bit. And then apparently, like, right after that, she said something else that was funny. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go rewatch it because I was coughing and dying and I must have missed it. But like, Twitter was fucking hilarious after that. It was like the Springfield dog, so it was like Santa's little helper from The Simpsons.
Oh God,
I love it. Like, and the moderator had to be like, nobody's eating dogs.
He sounded like a complete fucking lunatic. So for backstory, there was a meme, I guess, that came out of fucking Malaysia. There was a woman who got caught on camera eating a cat in Canton, Ohio, not Springfield, Ohio. And clearly this woman is just mentally unstable. But from that, they created a meme of that Haitian immigrants. This woman was an American citizen, first of all, but they immediately went to Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, are coming after your pets. So hide your dogs, hide your cats. But could there be like a more racist fucking thing, like how they went to Haitian immigrants?
Well,
I don't even know. Tell me, is there like a Haitian community in Springfield or something?
Well,
how the
no,
fuck did they jump to Haitians?
What it is like a year or 2 years ago, I can't remember what it was, but there was like an 11-year-old boy who was like struck like a illegal or a Haitian immigrant was like driving and like crashed into the bus or something and like hurt a bunch of kids, but one kid died. And JD Vance jumped on it like last week or something. He goes, Monday, a Haitian immigrant, or no, an illegal immigrant murdered this child on Monday. And like, first of all, it was a year ago. It was a car accident, and like the guy's already in prison, right? And so that's where it came from. They're trying to like take this event with the Haitian immigrant killing the kid and then like, use it to kind of build. But that kid's parents came out and they're like, basically, get my son's name out of your mouth, you fucking morally bankrupt people. Yeah, so that's where it came from. So that's where the marriage between eating dogs and Haitian immigrants came from, I guess. But my favorite part of that exchange was how like the moderator corrected me. He's like, but I saw it on the TV. And I'm like, I lost it completely because I was like, every sort of like flippant dismissal of people, like all you do is like listen to the TV. You don't like do you don't really know anything. Like the TV says it, you believe it. Donald Trump verified for the entire world yesterday that he is the crazy old man that just says what the TV says. Like, well, I saw it on TV. And the guy's like, I talked to the city manager.
We essentially watched a 78-year-old man, an 80-year-old man, sundown on national TV.
I saw somebody else say that too, and I was like, that is kind of the perfect.
As my father passed away a year ago, and he suffered from incredibly serious sundowning and dementia. I never saw that in Joe Biden. Joe Biden has a stutter and a speech impediment, but I'm telling you,
Joe Biden lost a step.
I'm telling you, it's real with Donald Trump. But how much these fucking Republicans have to feel like assholes? And like, could JD Vance is the one who basically spearheaded this, but it was also like Ted Cruz and Jim Jordan that were continuing to spread this rumor. Jim Jordan controls the House Judiciary GOP Twitter account, and he was sharing protect your pets memes on the fucking official like House Judiciary. Like these guys have got to feel like complete assholes today because basically, they force this garbage. They have a geriatric sort of sundowning presidential candidate right now, and somehow their fucking eating pets meme made it into the debate with their 80-year-old candidate. I would be fucking embarrassed if I was.
They should be, but they're like so shameless. And like to that point, like this kind of speaks to how insulated they are because we've all kind of said that they live in their own universe. And it's like picking JD Vance kind of shows that they live in their own universe. They thought that was a good idea. They thought they could like throw the eating dogs and cats thing and people would just like accept it. The number of people who had no idea what that was referencing is like profound, because I didn't know it was referencing anything specific. I just thought it was a fucking crazy ass, like, what the fuck is he talking about eating dogs for? When I found out it was a meme, I was like, all right, that makes a little bit more sense, but not really, because you are seriously telling me that you, former president, believed the meme that they're stealing people's dogs for dinner? Like, ye who like quotes Hannibal Lecter or somehow like
yeah.
And by that, I was texting my friend and I was like, somebody should ask if Kristi Noem ate her dog after she killed it.
Household pets have formed a very like oddly predominant part of this presidential campaign. For
we could call it the Cricket Cafe, right?
God,
I'm going to hell. It's fine. It's
poor
fine.
Cricket. Poor Cricket.
Poor Cricket. Poor Cricket. You know what? Maybe he fed a hungry family.
But the insistence upon this idea, and now you had like people. There were videos today of like people storming the city council meeting in Springfield, Ohio, to demand what they're going to do about the Haitian immigrants eating people's pets. These people are absolutely fucking insane. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And the fact that Donald Trump just repeated this on live TV, and you're absolutely right. Like, we're plugged into the memes and stuff. Like, a lot of people on social media knew what he was talking about because they saw that coming. But, like for like Joe Schmo Boomer, who just like turned on the debate and wanted to like, they had most people probably had absolutely no fucking idea what he was talking about.
None whatsoever.
Like, he just comes out and goes like, people are eating cats and dogs. And it's like, bro, what are you fucking talking about? Like this was probably the most heavily watched presidential debate in history, at least.
I meant to look up the numbers. Did you look them up yet?
I haven't looked them up yet, but like just people, for him, just thinking about like first time viewers or like like not, you always have to like remind yourself that like not everybody's like us. A lot of people are like just now tuning in to like make a decision about their candidate. And Donald Trump is talking about people eating cats and dogs.
The people of Springfield are eating their dog. It was so fucking funny. And like, I lost it. It says 65 million viewers is what New York Daily News says as of 3 hours ago.
That's good.
Yeah, almost. It's about 10 million more than watched the Trump Biden debate.
Okay.
So,
I mean, the Super Bowl is like 100 million viewers, right?
Yeah. It's let's see. So the 2020 debate between Trump and Biden was bigger, with 73 million. The second one was 62 million. The 2016 debate between Trump and Hillary was 84 million. And the 80 debate between Reagan and Carter was 80 million. Okay. Or no, 80 million Trump and Hillary, 80 million Reagan and Carter. But what I would love to see, because a lot of people I think probably didn't tune into the debate because like it's been a fucking shit show for so long. But
oh yeah.
I'll be curious to see how many additional people like watch it after like the live broadcast of the debate, because it was it's getting a lot of buzz. Let's say that it's getting some attention, and rightfully so. I think rightfully so.
Yeah. She had a lot of other great moments. Really leaning into the policy stuff. Really dog walked him on the rally stuff. She really knew how to bait him, and he absolutely responded.
Every single time. Like it was like hook, line, sinker every fucking time. He couldn't resist. Resist.
Rallies are all he has. I mean, that's the only, he's running for president because he enjoys the rallies. He never stopped having rallies when he was president.
I know.
I mean, that's the only thing the only thing he lives for. By the way, his rallies are getting increasingly fucking weird. And I love that she brought that up. It's like, have you ever fucking seen this guy's rallies? Like, I encourage you to watch his rallies because they're incredibly unhinged.
That was my favorite. She's like, you should go to his, like, what was it she said? I'm going to do something I never do before. I suggest you go to one of his rallies. But it made him so mad. Like, she knew exactly how to get under his skin because, like, like every time, like, what is it? Like, immigration is the issue that like Republicans are doing better on, which still blows my mind because they killed the fucking bill, right? But like,
yeah,
the immigration question is where he devolved into eating dogs, right?
right.
And like the
Well, it's all
next
he
one,
had. The entire debate was immigration for him. You know.
yeah, and that's the thing. He kept going back to it over and over again, but he couldn't even go back to it to make a point. He kept going back to it to ramble about like other nonsense, and it's insane. And like the fact that we are 9 years into this and he is still so obsessed with how many people come to his rallies is the most pathetic thing I think I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to put it.
Has anyone actually like? I agree with Kamala. Like, people should actually fucking watch this guy's rallies. It's not like 2016 when he was like, you know, I'll give him. He had a modicum of charisma back then, and like, you know, his rallies were entertaining. My God, if you watch his 2024 rallies, it's fucking weird and dark and boring and just
very boring.
It's this like Svengali, like, you know, monotone voice, and he like never blinks. I swear to God, he's like trying to hypnotize his audience or something like that.
You know what? That's actually
he started playing like QAnon music halfway through his rally. Like, it's fucking weird. The guy's losing it. He's absolutely losing it.
I would say he's lost it, but like I kind of wonder if he bores himself sometimes. Like,
he sounds bored. Like, he sounds
like he even
bored.
I was gonna say even he sounds like over his shtick, but he says the same things over and over again. So if you've been to one rally, you've been to all of them at this point, and like it's nothing but like a bitch fest of his grievances, and like it's
he's also terrified.
Something to behold.
He's also like supremely terrified of dying, and the you know, the shooting really freaked him out, and I think he's ever since the shooting he's even lost a step because he's just fucking constantly you know, on back on his heels.
Yeah,
but yeah, you know, more good Kamala moments, basically telling him that Putin would make him his bitch.
oh my God.
I enjoyed that segment as well.
That's good.
And then yeah, that was really good. The Ukraine stuff was really good. Like, she really hit him on that. Like, you know, that's the first time I've actually heard someone say to him, or say to any of these Republicans, like, yeah, you want the war to end because you want Russia to win. Like, if the war ended tomorrow, it would be a Russian victory. That's why you want the war to end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she very much had like that finish your thought, Donald, right?
Yeah.
Like, and there were a couple things that she did that with. Like, one thing I really liked at the I think it was like toward the first 10 minutes or so, maybe, where they were talking about his tariff plan, and she called it the Trump sales tax, which I feel like I'm gonna have to explain this on fucking TikTok soon. Like, but I thought it was clever because, like, as somebody who understands economics, it is kind of clever. It's misleading, yes, but like the point she's making is that like he doesn't understand tariffs, which concerns me because he has an economics degree from Wharton. But that was also funny where she's like the Wharton school, like she name dropped his school, saying his economic plan was stupid. She put him in a position to have to say Goldman Sachs and his alma mater are both wrong because they like her plan better. That was glorious.
Yeah, she was like, Goldman Sachs thinks you're wrong. Wharton thinks you're wrong. By the way,
I went to Wharton. I know, it was amazing. But like, to me, and I wish she would have done it. Like, after she said that, I was like, oh my God, I hope her rebuttal is like explaining tariffs, because tariffs are not something that China is going to pay to sell us their stuff. It's we pay them to buy Chinese goods, right? So they're meant to discourage the purchase of foreign goods. So you buy domestic goods, which means Americans purchasing Chinese goods will pay an additional tariff on those goods. It's not China has to pay us 10% on what they sell us. No. That's not a tariff. We pay 10% more. So I like that she framed it that way. And I'll be interested to see if, like, on the campaign trail, she does actually start to kind of like make that clear, because I believe, like, cause I know her dad's like an economics professor, and I'm pretty sure, and I'd have to double check, and I meant to, but I forgot, like, she has a degree in economics too, I believe, right?
I think she does. She has a couple degrees. She has a JD, obviously, but I think her undergrad, is in global economics or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I know her dad was like a big time freaking
Yeah.
professor, political science and economics. Yeah, so she graduated
Yeah.
in
There you go.
'86 with a degree in like
Yeah.
so she has my oh my god, she has
From
my
Howard.
degree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like she has my degree. I did that too. Well, actually, I did more philosophy than economics, but still. But yeah, so like she knows what the fuck she's talking about.
This was the first, again, this was the first time in a long time that we've seen like actual president. She's coming off so presidential.
So good. Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was only one president on that fucking stage. Like she, from foreign policy to economics, you know, to abortion and all that. Like, she sounded like
so good on abortion.
Absolutely knew her shit. And you're absolutely right. Like Donald Trump, it's the same way that he thinks that like this dude is so incompetent. It's the same way that he thinks that like NATO is like a protection racket, and like he thinks that like the countries in NATO have to pay the US for protection.
Yeah.
He honestly does not understand what tariffs are. Like, to your point, he thinks that like if we institute tariffs, somehow we're like charging other countries to like ship goods. Like, no, dude, like no, tariffs are punitive are punitive for Americans.
On the purchaser,
It's to get Americans to stop buying foreign goods. Ergo, it's a tax on buying foreign goods. It's a tax on companies that buy foreign goods that they will pass on to the consumer. So it's essentially, like she said, it's a sales tax. Like it's a massive increase in cost of goods.
And I've heard a bunch of people saying, well, like Biden has them too. I'm like, yes, but Biden's doing tariffs properly, because when you do tariffs properly, they're coupled with protectionist policies, like, you know, infant industry kind of things, which is the tax credits and the incentives to like do all of the domestic stuff. So he's subsidizing domestic production while instituting tariffs on imported goods. That's how they work, because that's encouraging you to buy the domestic version instead of the imported version. You can't just like broad stroke put a tariff on anything, because if there's not a comparable domestic product to replace it, you're just increasing prices, right? Like it's just so stupid. Like, so I loved her on that one, but the other one she did really good on, you mentioned it, was abortion, right?
Yeah,
because he was like, everybody wanted this, and she's like, sweetie, no.
Where the fuck is he getting that shit? Like, that is the stupidest fucking thing. Like, by his own admission, he even said, it was like, this has been one of the biggest issues for the last 49 years. It's like, yeah, dude. So why are you then immediately pivoting to like everybody agreed on this issue? Clearly, like we didn't all agree on this issue. I'm telling you, he's fucking losing it. His stuff doesn't even make sense anymore.
But I love the way, I know, but I love the way she like gave voice to people. Like a survivor of incest didn't ask for this.
Right.
A woman who's having a who wants her child but is having a miscarriage and is denied care and bleeding out in a car in the parking lot did not ask for this. I was like, hot damn, like, and I think this is the kind of conversation on abortion that you're only going to get from a female candidate, because she's not afraid to use the word. And even Joe Biden was a little bit afraid to use the word. And I think mainly because he's an old white man who has sort of navigated the abortion issue as the, you know, kind of hot potato you don't want to touch for the last few years or whatever. And by few, I mean 40. But like, she's not afraid to go straight there. And like, she leans on her courtroom experience a lot. Like, I put people away for this. Like, she like reinforced it. So that was a really good moment. I love that like she kept bringing up the stuff that, you know, his campaign did not want him to talk about, right? Like, so like with abortion for one, but then she brought up the border, we know, and the dogs eating thing, but then she brought up January 6th. And she fucking nailed him on January 6th so bad. She had him just crying and whining. It was Nancy's fault. It was Nancy's fault. But like, there was a point, and I don't know if you caught it because it was like a really quick moment, but he referred to the January 6th people as we. He goes, we were, right? So he put himself in with those people and then started defending them. But what she did, and it goes back to her little coconut tree thing, right? We exist in the context of all that is and came before us, because she kept going back. It was beyond just January 6th. Go back to Charlottesville, right? Like, she kept pointing to, like, this is a pattern of behavior. Such a fucking prosecutor, right? She goes, let me paint a picture. Let me paint a picture for you of who this motherfucker is. And speaking of which, there was that moment, this former president, like when everybody in the country was like, this motherfucker.
She was like, this former president.
Well, because I don't know if you know, like, they had done like an interview with her. I can't remember where, but they asked her like what her favorite curse word was. And she's like, well, I probably can't say it, but it starts with an M and it ends with an N.
Yeah.
Like, so it's motherfucker. And I was like, if there was any question, she's black, motherfucker being her favorite like word, that covers it. But it was just so funny because it took all of the fucking discipline in the world, because you could see it in her face. Like her mouth almost made like you saw her almost say the word, but like the entire, like, it's all over TikTok. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like everybody yelling motherfucker. It was so fucking good. So that was fantastic.
She absolutely dog walked him
so many times. But my favorite part of the night was the Obamacare line, right? Where they were asking, like, you want to repeal Obamacare. And he's like, no, I'll manage it better. Do you have, it's been like, moderator, it's been 9 years. Do you have a plan? I have the concept of a plan.
The concept of a plan.
I lost it. The concept of a plan. I was like, I thought it'll be out in 2 weeks was bad, but the concept of a plan.
He absolutely crashed and burned on that line with the eating dogs and cats, and then the concepts of a plan. That was an absolute disaster for him.
Absolute disaster. It was so funny.
Yeah, I mean, there was a ton of moments. I mean, I was so impressed. It's been so long since we've seen like I said, like an actual
debate,
someone that actually looks like a president. I don't know how you could possibly. I mean, he came off like an absolute raving lunatic, and she did so well. So,
the other one he did. Like, do you have any character references? Viktor Orban.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who says you're a good leader? Viktor Orban. Oh, you mean the wannabe dictator from Hungary? There's a good reference.
He should really have some more references, because he brings up Viktor Orban a lot. It's kind of the only one. I think it's his
new crush. I think Vladdy is going to start getting jealous in a little bit, because I'm just saying. But like, he couldn't say her name. He couldn't make eye contact. Like, she spoke directly to him. Like, she was like, you, like not breaking rules of the debate, but like, she very much like let everybody know she was talking to him, and he.
Yeah.
Her, like, okay, so I don't know if you saw this. So like, only the viewing people will see this, and it'll encourage everyone to go to YouTube. But the minute she did this, right? The minute she touched her chin, I was like, oh, it's done. It's so done. Like, every woman in the world has made that face, and it was so very bless his heart, like, bless his heart.
Did a really she did a really good job on the they actually both did. I will give Trump credit that he didn't just absolutely lose it and like start talking, I was convinced he was going to make some sort of like, incredibly sexist remark, or like call her stupid or something like that. He refrained from doing that. She was able to definitely bait him into sort of losing his temper a lot. But she did a masterful job of being and I think Hillary did this too, but being a woman in that situation, when you're standing up to somebody like that, you know what I mean? Like, she projected a ton of strength. She did a really good job, like not coming across as condescending necessarily, but like just projecting a ton of strength, and just looking very presidential. I thought she did a wonderful job with that.
Yeah, she did.
She never got rattled. And like I said, like, he could have been a lot worse. He could have been, he could have been an absolute nightmare. But she never got rattled. She was absolutely strong the whole time.
I was holding my breath for the hard R slipping out. I'm not gonna lie. So kudos to him for not letting it go.
I mean, he could have said some nasty shit. He didn't. He really did.
But she did a really good job holding it together. But like, to the point about Hillary Clinton, I think like she didn't have the baggage that Hillary Clinton, like one of the advantages I think she had going into this that Hillary didn't have, is that a lot of people don't know who she is, which means that they tuned in to get a good idea of who she is. And if that's the first impression that a lot of voters are getting of Kamala Harris, that is very good news.
Very good.
Kamala Harris, right?
Oh, yeah.
She looked on her game there, and like I saw one tweet about it that like all they said was, I don't mean this to support any particular candidate, but I have to say, as somebody who works with prosecutors, Kamala Harris talks like a prosecutor.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is probably exactly what has him rattled, because he has been spending a lot of time listening to prosecutors as of late. And I'm guessing that it did probably like send him somewhere in his brain, and that's probably why he didn't go to the insults like he probably would have normally, because he was on the defense the entire time.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. He absolutely was.
But the like, how bad was Donald Trump's night? Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris 20
Yeah.
minutes after the debate was over. She's and signed it childless cat lady as a little fuck you to JD Vance, which top notch, baby girl, top notch.
We had two JD. Yeah, let's talk a little Tay Tay. We had two JD Vance, like the ghost of JD Vance showing up. One in the the eating the cats and dogs, which was like JD Vance's fault. What was the
What is
fucking
the
other
thing
thing?
with dogs and cats that it's cat ladies, it's eating dogs? What is his? You know what? I have questions
Oh,
about
it
JD
was the
Vance suffering.
abortion. It was the abortion ban. Like JD Vance, the moderator was like, "Well, JD Vance said that
Oh,
you
that's
would
right.
sign a national abortion ban or whatever," and he forced Donald Trump had to be like, I never discussed that with JD Vance. Anyway, JD Vance, like, JD Vance
But
was the
that's the
third guy
other
in the room.
point. To that,
Yeah.
how have you never discussed one of the biggest political issues of this campaign with the guy who's a heartbeat away from the office if you win, right? Like, you're telling me that your running mate and you have not discussed with your running mate his positions on abortion? Like, the fuck, Donnie? Like, that made him look really bad, truthfully.
He was not he did not have a good answer for the abortion stuff. It was basically like
at all.
he was like, they're like, "Oh, will you sign a national abortion ban?" He's like, it won't come to that because the issue is resolved." And it's like it shouldn't even. It's like, okay, well,
issue's
that's
very much not resolved, but
that's
sure.
Objectively just a bad answer. But yeah,
You know
so
what
go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know what I wish they would have asked him instead of "Will you sign the abortion ban?" If Democrats control the Congress and pass a national law like protecting abortion rights, will you veto it?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
If they try to codify Roe, would you veto it? And he'd have to say yes because his whole shtick is it should go back to the states. But like 70% of Americans want you to say yes to that. Like they want you to sign that.
Right.
Oh man,
that's a good point. Not the sign the national abortion ban, but veto protections from Roe.
Would you veto like protections for abortion? And he'd have to say yes, and then he'd be on record, or he'd have to dance around that. That's what I wish they would have asked him because. But I just worked.
Cathy and I are both sick, so you guys got like a lot of sniffling going on. But
yeah, I'm so sorry. It's my asthma, guys. Like we all know, I suck.
Here we go.
Sometimes Troy has the travel sickies that everybody always gets.
I had the travel ick. Well, let's talk a little Tay Tay. So, hot damn, the timing on that, Cathy. So I woke up, like I was telling Cathy. So I'm in Spain. I'm 6 hours ahead of the East Coast. I went to bed. The debate for me was at 3 a.m, so I wasn't going to stay up for that. But I woke up at 5 and I checked my phone and I was checking everything and I was like, holy shit. Not only did apparently Kamala Harris like dominate in this debate, but also we had this Taylor Swift endorsement coming like, what was it, minutes after the debate ended or something?
About
like
10
that?
minutes after.
Like Kamala literally like walked out to a Taylor Swift song. Like it became like a Taylor Swift night. She wrote a long post on Instagram referencing the AI deep fake that Trump did, suggesting that Taylor was endorsing Donald Trump, which I knew would piss her off, and I think it did. And then she signed it, childless cat lady. So there again, the third ghost of JD Vance in that debate. JD Vance is an absolute fucking train wreck for Donald Trump. But God bless Taylor. That timing on that is absolutely stellar.
It was for a lot of reasons, actually. And I wonder a little bit if she didn't plan it this way because there was all of the there was all the buzz on Fox News, like she's a psyop and she's gonna come out and endorse Biden any minute now, right? And when Kamala came out and announced, like there was a lot of is Taylor gonna come out and endorse her? And I think she waited until after the debate, so it didn't look like she was just bandwagony, like, yay, whatever the Democrat is, like to give it some substance, right? But it's also, and I don't know if this made it to Spain news, but it's also on the heels of the Brittany Mahomes stuff, right? Like where she had liked a Trump post on Instagram and everybody lost their mind. And then they were at the US Open and she was hugging her and everyone's like, oh, I guess Taylor is now like whatever. So she was getting a lot of heat for it. And there was wording in her statement, right? Like I've done my research and your research is yours to do, which I think is sort of a nod to like, let people make their decisions on this one. But I also kind of wonder if like she wasn't talking to Brittany Mahomes about this, right? Like, I'm curious as to what the conversation at dinner that night was about. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, at the US Open, they were just being silly and having fun, but they all went to dinner later that night, and I'm curious if, like, they had a deep conversation, they watched the debate, and then she comes out and endorses Kamala Harris. It just seems very intentional.
Well, first of all, the weird sort of right-wing prognostications that Taylor was going to come out and endorse Donald Trump, which even Donald Trump even fell into. I swear to God. I mean, he's just, again, he's a sundowning old man. I don't even know
It
if
was
he
on the
knew
TV, Troy.
I don't even know if he knew that it was AI when Taylor endorsed him, because he was like, "Thank you, Taylor, for your endorsement." And it was
Actually,
like,
you're right. He might not
we
have
all
realized.
we all thought he was just being a dick, but I don't know. Maybe he actually thought that
Yeah.
Taylor. But the weird right-wing prognostications that like Taylor had switched sides, and there was all this content coming out about like, oh, Taylor's upset with Kamala and like she's a Trump supporter now. It was like fucking bizarre.
I was like, I knew it was bullshit while they were saying it, but like I was curious as to why she wasn't like, where is this lady and why?
I do think that, Taylor's very shrewd, clearly. I mean, you don't get to that position without being pretty shrewd. I do think she was waiting for the right moment, and I think she hoped to do it at the debate, but I don't think she was gonna, like, if Kamala had a terrible night, I don't think she would have endorsed. I think she saw Kamala sort of dog walk Donald Trump and was like, this is the time to do it. I also think that she's got perfect, she's a musician, like she's got great timing. I think she fucking hates Donald Trump. She hates MAGA. These are the people, like, their fondness and their affection for Taylor Swift is about 2 months old. Let's not forget that these were also the people that were like sharing AI nudes of her, like getting fucked on the football field. And
that's right. I'd forgotten about that.
And like, it's just spreading all these like disgusting rumors about her. Like, these people have been like fucking with the Swifties for a long time. And I think Taylor had it. And I think, I don't think it's an accident that she endorsed Kamala. Like, literally the second the fucking debate ended, it was like it ended up just being a brutal 1-2 punch to Donald Trump.
I know. It was
So
fucking glorious. Like, and Donald Trump went down to the spin room himself. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
And they asked him in real time how he felt about the Taylor Swift endorsement. He was just like, oh, I don't know. And then at the same time, like, contrast that with Tim Walz was on MSNBC right after the debate, and Rachel Maddow was like reading the endorsement to him live on television, and he was just delighted with himself. He was like, Hope's gonna be so happy.
Yeah, Hope's a Swiftie for sure.
Oh, without a doubt. Gwen's probably a Tim's probably a Swiftie. And I love that he said that. He goes from one cat owner to another, Taylor.
Like Hope got her dad into Swift there.
Oh, 100%.
That family's so cute.
100%. I know. They're just all that is good in the world.
Anyway, just a very, very bad night for Donald Trump. And of course, he's out there spinning it like he won the debate, and Fox News is spinning it. There was a few personalities. It was less about Donald Trump losing and more that Kamala came away the clear victor. Was sort of the honest Fox News assessment. CNN snap poll had 63% saying that Kamala won the debate. Vast majority, like 18 of the 20 people in the focus group said that that Kamala won the debate. Two people said that Trump won the debate.
The Washington Post focus group, that one.
The Washington, the WAPO one. Yeah,
I saw that one. I was like, it was so funny because I was reading that one when my friend sent it to me. I was like, we think so alike. Wonderful.
So it was a good night.
It was a good night.
It was penance for the the disaster that was the debate not that long ago.
We needed last night, like, for sure. Like, I know I needed last night to go the way it went. I'm pretty sure you did as well. It was a sigh of relief for sure.
Well, like I said, it was like like I said, it was like Christmas for me because I didn't watch it. It was too So I woke up at 5 a.m. like kind of, I guess, like right as
nerves of steel, just like, oh no, what's going to happen?
I just picked up my phone and there was like obviously like 150 text messages from Midas, and it was all positive. So
yeah, so fucking good, so good. I'm just so fucking thrilled. Like, it couldn't have gone better.
So you want to talk a little 9/11 here? So it was anniversary of 9/11.
So like now onto the sad stuff, because we got all the happy joys out of the way.
Keep this brief because I'm like leaking like a sieve out of my nose here. But
yeah.
So anniversary of 9/11, just really sad, solemn day. I don't know if the kids really are clicking with that, but
it's to you remember the video I made on TikTok like years ago, right? And it's been the thing that I love to bring up on September 11th now. And actually Kamala Harris had done a really good job of like bringing January 6th up again. And like what that was as an attack on democracy and all of that, because we remember like the people who weren't there for 9/11 always think of it as, oh, that's when the Twin Towers were attacked. Like, so it's the Twin Towers attack to people who weren't there. People like the 5 years ago kids who were babies when it happened will know the Pentagon, right? So they'll know Twin Towers and the Pentagon. But Flight 93 has gotten lost to history a lot, right? And which is really sad because remember, we were supposed to never forget. And like, I will never forget now because of that reality that like kind of occurred to me on the 20th anniversary. Remember where it was like those people gave their lives defending the Capitol, defending democracy. Like they knew their lives were over.
I was hoping you were gonna hit this.
Yeah, they knew in that moment, and they did the most patriotic thing that they could have done, knowing that their lives were over. They gave their lives to defend the seat of democracy, right? And that it was Donald Trump rallied his supporters together to attack the very thing that those people gave their lives to defend, right? And she brought up how he invited the Taliban to Camp David on 9/11. So like those things.
Yeah, I was glad she brought that up too. That doesn't get talked about enough.
I know. So like consorting with the enemy that attacked us on a sacred day where we were attacked, and then having your own supporters finish the job that the Taliban couldn't do, right? Like that the Al-Qaeda tried to do it and failed, but you had your people finish their job. Maybe with an assist from some Russian propaganda, right? Like very likely. But that is, I think now forever, or at least I feel like it should be, is that those two events need to be married together. Because I think that like that the Shanksville, and especially it was in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. So the fact that it was like they were in Pennsylvania last night, I feel like it could have gotten some attention. I wish she would have I wish she has made this connection. Maybe she has, maybe she hasn't. She needs to. Somebody send her my video. But like I want those two events to be tied together because it'll really help put into perspective just how dangerous Donald Trump is because of how evil he was. Like he is already a terrorist. He did what they tried to do. What that attack was the culmination of the 9/11 attacks. It makes me sad every year since then. Ever since I figured that out, like on that 20th anniversary, I think more about January 6th on 9/11 now, which in a way makes me feel bad. But I think it's because January 6th so insulted the memory of everyone we lost on 9/11 in a way that is almost like heartbreaking for me because you remember in the aftermath, it was never forget, honor these people, we'll never forget the sacrifice you made. And not only did we forget, we insulted, and I just, history better fucking lay that man to the carpet for that because I'll never get over it. I'll never get over it.
People died defending the Capitol, and it was never the terrorists that got to the Capitol. It was American citizens that broke the windows and rubbed shit on the walls in there.
Yeah.
Desecrated the Capitol 20 years after 9/11. So,
and there's a plaque on the wall in the Capitol, like commemorating Flight 93, right? Like these people saved this building, right? Which means that those insurrectionists walked past that plaque, honoring the people that defended that building, and still did that. So that it's abhorrent to me. I'll never get over it.
Not only that, Trump's lies about 9/11. The first thing Trump said about the first statement that he made on that day was to brag about the fact that he
He had the tallest building.
He had the tallest building, which wasn't true, by the way. But he went on a TV,
but like
called into a TV show and talked about the fact that his building was now the tallest in Lower Manhattan. And then he went on to lie about sending crews of workers to assist with rescue operations, and even said that he went down there personally. He was saying this like on September 12th, September 13th, 2001, when it came out that like the fire crews had no record of him sending anyone, of him ever being there. So he was literally lying about like, assisting in rescue efforts. He just like fucking lied about it. Like,
and then
lying about like Muslims celebrating and that he saw them personally, which has been debunked and all that.
Yeah. I was just going to bring that one up too. Like he's so shameless and so just gross. And like, who lies about shit like that? Who lies about helping in a like?
Yeah, well, that to me was the one. That's like the quintessential Trump lie, right? Like that's the fucking. That's a Trump lie. That's the lie that's so audacious to say that you said like 200 employees to assist. Like you never thought that like that would come back. But yeah,
like how dare you? Like right? Like how dare you? Like the people who, like the firefighters who ran into that building knowing they weren't coming back down, right? And then you're just like, yeah, I totally helped and I have a tall building and they blocked my McDonald's and I was mad. Like history better history better come through for me on this one is all I'm saying.
That was 2001. That was basically
babies.
A decade before birtherism. Like he was that much of an asshole then, when he was still like not even really on anyone's radar for politics at that point. Like he was just still like Donald Trump and in New York. He wasn't even really on The Apprentice at that point, I don't think. No. That was sort of like the low point of his career, like coming out of the 90s.
Because he just declared his third bankruptcy.
Yeah, he was in like in the middle of one of those bankruptcies, and he just like he had no reason to lie about it. Like he was just he was Donald Trump. Like he was just guy, he was just like a famous businessman in New York. He had no like he wasn't like he was running for president at that point. Like we're so we think about Donald Trump as this like grifter and liar that's so obsessed with power, but that like at that point he was just like he was just Donald Trump. Like he was in Home at that point. His biggest achievement was he was in Home Alone 2. Like you know what I mean? But even then he had the fucking audacity.
Yeah, it's all he knows how to do, because he's always been that gross, remember? And actually Kamala brought this up at the debate last night too, the Central Park Five, right? Like he's always
he doubled down on, by the way.
Yeah. Yes, they were guilty. Like, no, sir, they're literally not even in jail anymore because whatever. But yeah, this is always who he is, and like it's just really sad. That's what it is to me. Is it's just really sad.
Yeah. But anyway,
all in all, a wild night, right?
Anyway, check out the if you guys can stomach it, check out the movie United 93, directed by Paul Greengrass. There's been 3 or 4 9/11 movies. I think the movie United 93 directed by Paul Greengrass, it reads like a documentary. In fact, like most of the people in that movie were actually people that were involved that day. It's one of my favorite movies.
Wife, right?
Yeah, it's a hard watch. I mean, if it's a hard watch for those of us who experienced 9/11. But if you can get through it, it's one of my favorite movies. Anyway, it's a really good, watch.
And that's kind of the point I was making, right? It's like when it happened, we all knew about it. Like we made movies about that flight. Like it was what they did was so important 20 years ago that the fact that it's been so forgotten breaks my heart, because I remember seeing like t-shirts, like the guy said, he goes, all right, let's go. Right. And they like stormed the cockpit and took the plane, and that it's lost. Like nobody even knows it anymore. And why? Because who even knows?
That guy, the Let's Roll guy, his mother went to my church. So
really?
People don't remember that was a most of those flights were East Coast to West Coast. San Francisco was a big destination. That flight was Newark to San Francisco. So there was a lot of people on that flight that were returning home to San Francisco, and I'm from the Bay Area. So a lot of those people were local to the Bay Area. that the Let's Roll guy, his mother was a regular at my church. I knew her.
Wow.
So it was it was really intense for
That
us.
was really personal to you, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, I was talking to one of the late girls I work with today, my intern actually, and she was like, because she wasn't alive. She's a 2002 baby, which makes me feel a million years old. But her father's a pilot, so even though she wasn't alive, like it's still like her dad was supposed to fly that day and didn't, and like so it's always just rattled her. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope that we stick true to not forgetting those people and that we can bring that back to the forefront some more and really put into context their sacrifice, contrasted with the insult that was January 6th. So that so that neither of those things ever have to happen again. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, amen.
But yeah,
23
years, man.
23 years. Rest in peace, everybody that died on that day and all those who suffered. Cathy, let's sign off here before we
before I start crying again. Get all sad.
Before we get sad, but also let's just go to bed because I think we're both
well,
under the
it's
weather
almost
here,
fucking midnight for you, isn't it?
It's almost midnight here in Spain, in Europe, where I live. Us Europeans have to go to bed, which is actually not true. They stay up till like 3 in the morning here, but I'm still a 40-year-old American and I want to go to bed.
You haven't adjusted to the Spaniard life quite yet.
Yeah, I'll be there soon. I'll get my party legs back on.
Right.
Thank you, Cathy.
The podcast is back. Yay.
The podcast is back. Thank you for everybody sticking with us. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/justbuylesscoffee. You can subscribe $5 a month, get access to pre-show content, bonus content, merch, deep dive, exclusive content, exclusive guests, all that stuff. Watch the video versions of the show on YouTube, youtube.com/justbuylesscoffee. You can see our pretty mugs. And if you're listening to the audio only versions, as always, please go ahead, click the download button, download the episode to your device. We are judged in podcast land based on our number of downloads, and that's how we're ranked with other shows. So it doesn't cost you anything, and it really help us out if you just go ahead and click that download button. Thank you, everybody, so much. Love you guys. Signing off from Spain, from Europe, and a whole new era. Cathy, thank you so much for a great conversation, and we will see everybody next time. You've been listening to Just Buy Less Coffee, answering the deeper questions of American politics, featuring Troy Matthews at Keep Troy Blue and Cathy Cannon at Cannon's Fodder. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and X. All opinions are our own.